Well, hopefully this works. We're streaming from live from the shop. Nobody's here yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and ramble on. Uh, have to apologize for the connection. We did a test stream and it worked okay, and now it's not working so great. Don't know why. Hey, somebody's here. Welcome, somebody. So we'll see if we can work through this buffering and get you some content here tonight. As always, any questions you care to ask, I'll be more than happy to try and answer. But one thing I wanted to talk about is Mike Rowe. I don't know if you guys are up on what he's doing and the Mike Rowe Works Foundation and trying to get people to realize that trades jobs, welding, plumbing, electrician, carpentry, machining, factory assembling, all those jobs, they're not bad jobs. They're jobs. They're not the greatest jobs in the world sometimes, but they're not bad jobs. Mike was telling a story about when he was in uh, high school, and the guidance counselor calls him into his office, and he says, Mike, what are you planning on doing? Mike said, well, I don't have a whole lot of money, and I don't know really what I want to do, so I'm thinking I'm going to go to a 2-year community college here and start the process and kind of feel my way and learn what I want to do. And guidance counselor said, oh, no, you're undervaluing yourself. You need to go to a 4-year college and get a 4-year degree. And he pointed to a poster on the wall behind him, and there's a picture of a proud college graduate holding up their um, diploma and big smile on their face. And the sister photograph next to him is a mechanic holding a wrench, and his head's down, and he looks really sad. And below that, it says, work smart, not hard. Well, I don't know anybody in this world who's made it just working smart. Everybody I know that's been successful has worked smart and hard. And a lot of that is something else Mike has been saying, is that, the most successful people that he knows have looked around and saw where all the people were going and went the opposite direction. An example he uses is a pig farmer in Las Vegas who collects all the leftover food from all the Vegas casinos and chews it up in a big machine that he invented and feeds it to his hogs. And those hogs grow twice as fast as average, so he puts out twice as many hogs a year as some other people, and as a regular hog farm. And the guy's a multimillionaire. Yeah, the place stinks. He's walking around in hog crap all day, feeding them slop, but guess what? He's a millionaire. It's a dirty job, but he does it. And you know what? He's probably perfectly happy doing it because he gets that paycheck every week. Or in the case of he owns the place, so he gets that income. So, the big thing is to get out and do something. I just got on the Bureau of Labor and Statistics website here a few minutes before we started, and saw the unemployment rates at 4.1% for the United States, which is really good. That's 6.6 million people out of work. And that's just the people who are actively seeking work. Okay, that doesn't count all the people who've given up. Um, the other thing is there are 6 million job openings right now in December in the United States. So it's a skills gap. People either don't have the skill to go fill those jobs, are not willing to learn the skill to do those jobs, or think those jobs are below them. Okay, I'm a welder, fabricator, carpenter, satellite technician, power limited technician. I've done a lot of things in my career, and I just took a job that's probably below what my skill rate would normally require. It's way below my shop rate, but it's got benefits with it. So that made a decision, helped me make a decision to take a job. I'm actually going back to work at the beginning of January with a company, and getting paid way lower than I've been paid in the last 20 years. But it's got health insurance with it. It's got a 401k, and they're willing to work with a schedule that works for me. So don't worry, the videos will keep coming out. I'm not going to stop making videos, but just maybe a few fewer of them, or they'll be shorter because I just won't have as much time because it is a full-time position. So what do you guys think? Do you guys check into Mike Rowe and see what he's doing and watch any of the videos that he's got out there or any of the interviews that he's done? There's a really long one, a 2-hour one that was excellent that I happened to watch while I was sick last week. Um, and I have to say, I had a relapse on Wednesday and I got sick again. And really, I didn't even get out to the shop here till Sunday. So haven't had a whole lot of shop time to make videos or do anything, but I'm feeling better now. So that's good. So that was my rant for this week. Go check out Mike Rowe's videos. Just type Mike Rowe into the search bar on YouTube and see what he has, or go check out the Mike Works Foundation. It's one of the charities that I give to freely, and I'm really happy with what he's doing and saying that college isn't for everybody. And if you don't really know what you want to do, don't go and get spend $100,000 in student loans and your parents' retirement to get a degree in something that you can't get a job in. Another thing Mike has been saying is everybody always told him, follow your passion. No, you do what you have to do to make a paycheck. If it's your passion, great. If it isn't, you know what? It's a job. Get out there and do the job, make a paycheck, support your family, and get on with it. I'm really sorry about the crappy video quality tonight. I did a test stream from the shop here a couple weeks ago, and it was working pretty well, and now it's working pretty poorly. So, but this will be up on YouTube after it tomorrow or the next day. So we'll be able to follow through with my whole rant. Hey, Mike, how's it going tonight? Yeah, I'm glad I'm feeling better too. I was pretty miserable all the way up until Saturday morning, pretty much. Just that flu moved into a kind of a head cold thing, and I just wasn't happy at all. I'll be right back. I'm going to try something to see if I can get this stream working a little bit better. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back here. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I went and unplugged the switch and so I didn't have. Okay, hopefully this fixes it. I unplugged the wireless access points that we have out here because internet does not leave the walls of the shop unless the garage door is open. So I've got a couple of access points, one over in the cabin and one outside that kind of gives internet access to the yard. So hopefully, and that and the mini tower for my cell phone was plugged in too. So I disconnected that, and it doesn't seem to be helping any. So it was worth a try. So this is what we have to deal with. Other topics, I had a comment about safety gear on one of the videos, and here's the thing. I wear my safety glasses 90% of the time. I wear my regular glasses the rest of the time, so my eyes are always covered. These are the safety glasses that I like. I got them at Shopko. They're the only ones that carry these frames. They've got the fine mesh wire screens on the sides of them, and really prefer that. Hey, Paul, how's it going? And I've mentioned before that I wear bifocals, And for welding, I was having problems seeing through the bifocals because depending on where my head position was, I couldn't see very well um, up close. So I had them put regular distance vision in the center and then my close up vision in the top and the bottom. So it costs a little bit more, but I can see with these now. So that's a good thing. And then these are a shade 4.5 safety glass. These are what I have in the shop for cutting, and boy, are they dirty right now. But it's a shade 4.5 for doing plasma cutting and torch work. So when I'm not wearing my hood, I'm doing good, Paul. Finally feeling better. So it took about a week to get completely over whatever that bug was. So, yep, I'm feeling better, feeling good. I'm in the shop. Uh, been working with that NAS stuff today. Gonna have a video coming out for you guys, and oh, not too long, I guess, on some a woodworking project. It's a Christmas present, so not going to go too into detail. Um, but that video will be coming out hopefully Saturday. And then, hey, Stream Health is good. Now it's bad. No in between. Oh, I got excited there for a minute. Okay. So safety glasses were the other thing. Safety gear. You know, I'm in charge of my safety. I'm not in charge of your safety. What I feel is adequate. Hey, J Man, good to see you here. So, and we're shooting from the shop, and I've always been telling you that got such crappy internet out here. It doesn't work very. It's not going to work very well. Well, it's proving it. It's not working very well tonight. So it is what it is. But yeah, wood dangerous. You can get splinters. Anyhow, so the safety glasses. I'm in charge of my safety. You're in charge of your safety. If you're in my shop, you're in charge of your safety. I'm not watching out for you. Okay. If I see you about to do something stupid, I'll tell you because I got kids. I'm used to telling them not to do stuff stupid. But really, you're in charge of your own safety, not me. So if you're going to do something, what you might consider an unsafe practice, I might consider a perfectly safe practice. Uh, I've done cable TV a lot in my life, and one thing you do as a cable guy is you do what's called a midspan. Yeah, it's the signals giving me bad stream health. Every once in a while, it'll pop up to good stream health and then drop right out. I even went as far as I already mentioned this, as I went and disconnected my wireless access points in my mini tower for the cell phone, and didn't help any. I was hoping that it would help going straight to the with just the laptop plugged in, but it is what it is. I can't do any more than that to fix it. So anyhow, so everybody's got to be in charge of their own safety. And what I was saying is, doing cable, you do what's called midspans, which means that you go connect a wire halfway between poles, mid-span. When to do that, you take your ladder and you put it up there, and you've got hooks on your ladder that'll hook over the wire, and you climb up in the middle of nowhere, nothing underneath you, nothing in front of you. That really freaks out a lot of people. Some people just can't do it. But I know it's safe. I've done it 1,000 times. It doesn't bother me. Okay, but I also don't. Everything that I do, I look at and say, is this safe? If it isn't safe, I don't do it. I find some other way to do it. I've still got all 10 hands and feet. I almost always wear safety toed shoes in the shop if I'm going to be doing anything that requires moving heavy objects, even just moving small pieces of steel. I'm going to usually have my safety toe shoes on uh, because I know that I can drop stuff on my feet and stuff can fall on my feet. you got to think about it and set where your level of comfort is. And if you know what you're doing it with limited protection equipment is just fine. But don't say that what I'm doing is unsafe. Okay, I've been doing this for a long time, and the only stupid things that I've done in my career is lift stuff that's too heavy. And yeah, lift with your legs, not your back. Well, when it's stuff that's way heavier than you should be lifting anyways, that's when you should go get somebody else to help you. But there's not always someone to help you, and you just do what you have to do sometimes. Sometimes it's about getting the job done. You have to do safety third. So anyhow, that's my rants for this evening. So take it for what it is. It's my opinion. Everybody has one, and mine may not be 100% correct, but it's mine. On another note, it's damn cold outside tonight. I'm guessing it's probably down around 5 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler. I was walking out to the shop here to get ready for this, and for future watchers, Paul just commented that he can't comment on other safety. He does metal casting in a plaid jacket. Yep, he does, but he usually has safety glasses on. So protect your eyes, and gloves. So protect you. And is that plaid jacket cotton or is it synthetic? If it's synthetic, you shouldn't be doing it. Even I won't do that. Then again, I've had synthetics melted to my skin before. Not from welding, by the way. It was from a nylon windbreaker I was wearing, and I was fixing a four-wheeler that my friend was riding, and I stuck my arm too close to the exhaust, and the nylon melted and stuck to my arm. And that was something that I should have thought about. Aha! Tweed is wool. Wool is good. Hey, I learned something tonight. Paul's tweed jacket is made of wool. So some people claim that making YouTube videos is that you have to be uber safe and follow every safety precaution, and I don't agree with that. Junkman just said his dad always told him to be aware of your surroundings, and that's very true. You look around and see what can hurt you. Um, if you're moving a long board, yeah, wood. You look and see what it can run into. If you're moving a big piece of steel, same thing. You look at what it could hit and cause it to fall. When you're driving a race car, you should be pretty aware of the other cars around you. Of course, driving a regular car on the regular road, you should be aware of all the cars that are around you. And a lot of people aren't because they're busy doing this. Yeah, see, Paul, you're one step on me because I usually end up welding in t-shirt and short sleeves, cotton t-shirt and short sleeves. Junkman says, we never put guards on our machines, just don't walk into moving parts, like a combine, for example. And that's just it. You're aware of what's going on around you. You're aware of the people that are around you. In Boy Scouts, one of the first things you learn is to take your axe and you hold it by the head and you hold the handle out at arm's length and you swing it around. Is there anything that handle can hit? If there is, you're too close to something or someone. You're having lathe spitting troubles and auto eject. Did you throw a part out of the lathe? I've done that too. Fortunately, it fell straight down. It was heavy enough. just a good note to myself to make sure that that chuck is tight and use a tailstock for stuff that sticks way out. Yeah, I was so sick, Junkman, that I got the notification and I looked at my phone and I went back to sleep. I was just absolutely miserable. Um, they are on my list though to go and watch as soon as I get some time. Don't piss on the electric fences. Well, where's the fun in that? It's something we always did as a kid. We'd dare each other to pee on the electric fences. Of all the times that I did it, I don't ever remember getting shocked from it though. It's kind of like drinking jalapeno juice for $5. Used to do that a lot too when I worked at a pizza place. Or eating a handful of banana peppers. You know what? If somebody's willing to pay me to do it, I'll do it. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I was said earlier in the video here tonight that it took me till Saturday to start feeling human again. I had really Wednesday after the last Tuesday night video. I felt like crap. I was in bad shape. My wife likes to say that I don't get sick often, but when I do it right. Uh, there wasn't an orifice of my body that wasn't leaking something on Wednesday. I was just a miserable guy. But it's just part of life. You get sick, you get better. Hopefully, either that or you're dead. One of the two. And I'm not dead because I'm here live, kind of live. So did a bit of woodworking yesterday and today. Got a little bit more to do to finish up the wood part of it tomorrow before finishing. Actually, I'm gonna probably work on that tonight still. I'll probably be out here in the shop till probably 1 a.m. something like that. When I'm out here by myself, I really don't keep a schedule. I work when I want to work and watch TV when I want to watch TV and play games on my phone when I want to play games on my phone. So I don't keep a exact schedule of work versus play. Um, like this afternoon, I decided to take a break and go do some ice fishing. Didn't catch anything though, so I spent about 2 hours out on the ice. It was a nice day today. It was low 20s. So I was enjoying my time out on the ice today. Shop dog, she wasn't enjoying her time out on the ice today. She didn't think that ice fishing was a good idea at all. She kept looking at me and pawing at my legs, saying, "Come on, let's go back inside where it's warm." Speaking of warm, it's getting a little chilly out there, and I went to pick up kerosene for the kerosene heater that's in the that heats the cabin while I'm out here, and got to the store and they got a big oil tank full of kerosene and it's got a valve on it. You open up, fill your bucket, and tell how much. Yeah, not even any bites. I really wasn't in a good spot. The spot I picked was one that's good for summer crappies. Yes, I am. I am a hockey fan, and no, I don't know how the Wild are doing because I haven't been watching this week. Well, I guess there was a game today, and I didn't watch today's game. So, but my favorite hockey team is the UMD Bulldogs. I've been watching them since I was knee high to a mini mite, and always followed them. Had season tickets for several years. My parents had season tickets the entire time I was growing up. Uh, so seen a lot of hockey. My daughter played. All three of my kids played hockey. I played when I was young too, but all three of my kids played hockey. The two boys kind of gave it up. Wasn't as interesting for them, but my daughter played all the way into college. So she's a goalie and she still plays. She plays beer league quite often. Well, we haven't had any snow since yesterday. Does that count? So we have about 6 inches on the ground out here at the shop. That's one of the things on my list is to tune up the snow blowers. We got one for here and one for the house, and the one for the house, it's the Aaron's. You guys have all seen that in other videos. Yeah, hockey really is my favorite sport. It's the only one that I actually will sit down and watch a game. Um, yeah, I'll actually sit down and watch hockey on TV. Nothing else. Girls really like hockey players for some reason. Don't know why. It's coming, Paul. It's coming. I guess it was. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and it was just light flurries here, and got in Duluth. It was snowing pretty hard, I guess. So enjoying the winter so far. It's been nice so far. Hasn't been really cold yet. I think 3 below is the lowest that I've seen so far. So, oh, our stream health is in the green. Doubt it's going to stay there. It hasn't stayed there yet tonight since I first started. So hopefully the video fixes itself here. Oh, there we go. We're back to red again. Had a good 30 seconds of green there. Way to go. Kind of weird seeing my face, 15 seconds after or more after I've said something. I think hockey is a great sport for kids. It teaches them a lot of life lessons. Any group activity, though, it does the same thing. My youngest son, he's in joined the robotics team this year at school. Yeah, that's the nice thing about the kerosene heater. No way is that it gets hot in there. When I turned it off last night, it was almost 90. Well, as long as the audio is good, we'll go with the audio. We can just ignore the fact that the stream health is crappy. Yeah, so I wear a t-shirt in the shop. I broke down. I turned up the heat in the shop on Sunday. I had it set at 60. Yeah, it's green again, but I'm guessing it's still buffering. But so I got out to the shop on Sunday and I broke down and I turned it from 60 up to 65. Yeah, this is right here is what I was wearing outside this evening, doing a couple things. Long sleeve t-shirt covered by a short sleeve t-shirt. It's in the probably around between 0 and 10 something. I don't have a thermometer that I can see from here. Nearest one's over on the cabin, and I try not to look at it. But oh, come on, Paul, live dangerously. Fire up that foundry furnace and heat the garage. Just make sure you put a carbon monoxide detector in there first. I was watching Essential Craftsman video tonight, the one that came out today, and his uses a different kind of burner. It's long with many holes in it, ceramic, and he says he running that burner at 2.5 psi. So it's just sipping the propane versus these other ones that freeze the tank. It's something I'm going to have to look into. A friend of mine almost died in his shop. It was about 15 years ago. He had a professional, quote, install a uh, forced air furnace in his garage, and brand new forced air furnace, vented properly, everything, and he had from the factory. It had a cracked heat exchanger, so he was getting carbon monoxide in his shop. So his wife found him before he got in trouble. Well, you're gonna have to show us that on a video, Paul, so we can see how to set up our burners so we can melt steel. We want to melt steel. We want to do cast iron. I don't know. Okay. So, how's the progress on the van coming? Are you getting pretty far? Saw the video last week, Friday, I guess it was. Where you're taking the front end apart. It's amazing how little rust is on that van for spending all its life in the north. I got it, no way. I got the joke. Oh, that's nice. Melted big copper ingots to liquid in 15 minutes. Does that mean you're doing some um, alloying? Maybe some aluminum bronze? As we're sitting here talking, the boiler in the shop came on. It's electric and it hurts. That's so cool, Paul. That the van is so rust free. Nothing I own is that rust free. I don't think my wife's 2011 vehicle is that rust free. Cool. I'm expecting a big hammer. There we go. Got a hammer pattern made up for this weekend. Cool. I almost ordered a lead hammer kit. It's got the mold, the cast steel mold, and you make up a hammer out of a handle out of pipe, or um, they sell hammer handles that go with it too that fit inside the mold, and then you melt your aluminum and dump the aluminum in, and you get lead hammers. I almost ordered one of those kits the other day. I keep going back and looking at it because Google keeps popping it up as a suggestion for me to click on. One of these days. Well, you got a welder, you got sheet metal, nothing there you can't fix. So a nice thing about having skills and learning skills is that you can learn a skill to fix something. My weak spot, I think I've mentioned this before, is electronics. Um, yeah, and I work on computer networks. Figure that one out. But you get much beyond uh, minimal testing, continuity, that kind of stuff. I'm lost. So I want to see one like this one. This is the one I cleaned up on a video a while back. Oh, handle's a little loose. It's pretty dry in here. Gonna have to oil it. With that is a nice brass hammer. Oh, there goes the compressor. Sorry about that, guys. It's got a really, really, really slow leak that I haven't been able to track down yet. And at the moment, I can't get to the shutoff valve. The only thing I can do is shut down the breaker that goes to it. And I don't like doing that because then it's empty when I need it. Cool. Cool. I really need to get into casting. I've got plans. I've got several plans for making a furnace, and just it hasn't been high on my list yet. It'll get there. Hey, what do you guys think of the new hat? SOB. That's Simmons Outstanding Blades. They're actually shipping me a free blade to try out. So I met them down at FabTech. So they gave me a hat. And when you don't have hair and it's wintertime, hats become important. Hey, Junkman, how are your how's your video project coming along? I'm dying to know what it is. I really am. You said January or February you'll be coming out with it, so I'm dying to find out what that project is. Chop Dog's looking at me like, let's go inside. You know, I used to wear a hat all the time too, and at some point in the last couple of years, I've just stopped wearing it. I don't know why. I have them around. I wear them when they're called for out in the sun or something like that, but I don't wear one in the shop 24/7 like I used to. Oh, this chair is not good for my back. This is my TIG welding stool that I'm sitting on, and get the right height. It's not the best chair to be sitting in for long periods of time, evidently. Anyhow, the stream health's been good for a long time. It's been staying green. Yet my video is still all shaky. Or stops and starts, buffering, whatever it is. It's not good quality, but it says the stream health is good. Who knows? Probably wore a hat all the time when I was younger because my mom was always around saying, put your hat on, you're going to get sunburn. I always had, except for short time from 7th and 8th grade, I think I had long hair. Well, if you want a TIG welder, Paul, save up and buy a good one. That's all I can say about that. Is I've got the Eastwood unit and it's adequate. You know, it's an adequate welder. It'll do the job, but it's not in anything at all to write home about. I'd recommend saving up and buying a better welder. I was just watching a video the other day, and guy, I don't remember who it was, but we're talking about welders, and said that he hasn't had a chance to try out some of the. He's tried some of them. These cheaper Chinese ones. He mentioned a couple of brands. I'm not going to. And the thing is that you go red, blue, or yellow, um, you're getting a warranty that's actually good for something. Um, well, that's where it really comes in, Paul. Is Paul says good or adequate? I'm not going to have less than adequate skills to operate it. Yeah, but you get a good welder can weld well with a crappy machine. Somebody just learning should have a good machine to learn on, so they're not fighting the machine as well as their skills. Um, Before I've said, buy what you can afford. If it is one of the cheaper mid-range Chinese ones, go for it. But don't expect that support to be there in 5 years. I needed a 025 drive roller for my 30-year-old MIG welder. I went to my local welding store. I said, "Oh, we don't have it, but hang on, give me a second." And he got on the computer and got it into Lincoln's parts network, that they have access to, that the general public really doesn't have access to, because you have to be a retailer to order from it. And he said, "Yep, it's right here. It's this much. Order it for you. Have it in a couple of days." That's exactly what he did. He ordered it, called me 2 days later, and said, "It's in. Come pick it up." Yeah, and their return policy is really good. You've got 60 or 90 days or something like that to return or exchange. But thing is, are you going to be able to get parts for that welder in 2 years? Is there going to be anybody who knows how to service it around? See, I know with the Lincoln machines that I have, if I need service, I can take them into my local welding store and say, "Hey, this is broken, fix it." And they'll send it off to their service guy, and he'll fix it and give it back and get it back to me in a reasonable amount of time. If I take my Eastwood TIG machine in 5 years and say, "Hey, this is broken, can you fix it?" And they'll just laugh at me. And if I call Eastwood and say, "Hey, this thing's 3 years out of warranty, can you fix it?" They'll just laugh at me. So it is what it is. If you want to buy one of the cheaper machines as a starter unit, like I said before, I'm kind of iffy on that. I think that you'll be fighting the machine and fighting the skills. Yeah, 3-year warranty. Like I said, I've got a 30-year-old machine that's never been in for service. Knock on good old-fashioned steel, and it runs like a dream. It runs like it did when it was brand new. The only thing I've done to it in 30 years is I've replaced the liner a couple of times, and liners are liners. Nothing special about them. Pull the old one out, slip the new one in, cut it to length, boom, you're done. So, I'm just concerned about long range plans. I'm planning on being around for quite a bit longer, and I know you're planning on being around for quite a bit longer. I imagine we all are, and having a machine that's going to last our lifetime at least is probably a pretty good deal. The Lincoln 210 MP has a 5-year warranty on it. Hey, grant it costs a lot more. So, but Eastwood itself is pretty good at standing behind their products, Like I said, I just don't know if there's going to be in 5 years if what's going to happen. And I was Chinese machines in general, they like to change um, designs and stuff quite often. Whichever factory is making it the cheapest this week, they'll change to them. Whereas, Lincoln, Miller, ESAB, Hobart, and even HTP, which I believe is Italian, they're going to stand behind their machines much longer. Yeah, my welders came in good shape. Welder and plasma cutter. They're the only big machines I've ever ordered from Eastwood. Otherwise, I ordered some products. Um, I ordered some header coating back in the 90s from them and a few other things way back in the 90s. Sure, make me feel old, Paul. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, see, there's the best way to go, Paul. Have him store his TIG machine at your place, and then you get to learn how to TIG weld on his machine. The only thing you'll have to buy is some consumables and tungsten and some gas. Now remember, for TIG, you need 100% argon. Can't just use your argon CO2 tank from your MIG machine. The only gases that I know that you use for TIG right offhand is argon and helium. In fact, TIG welding used to be called HeliArc because you use helium. Helium's really good as an additive to the argon in different percentages to give you higher heat for welding aluminum. That's another thing about welders and equipment. I like generally buying equipment locally because I can get it serviced locally, or at least ask questions locally. Whereas if you're, yeah, that's unfortunate. I fired Airgas a couple of years ago. Got tired of their BS, losing me in their computer system, and they sold me a tank and put it down as a lease one time, and I started getting bills, and I went back in, and fortunately I had the receipt and said, no, I bought that tank. Oh, we're sorry about that. So we'll take that off of here. Yeah, great. If I hadn't paid attention and actually opened the letter when it came, I just assumed it was junk mail, to be honest, and just happened to open it, and it was like 3 months in, and they were wanting their $18, $6 a month lease fee, or whatever it was. So I like the mom and pop store I go to now. It's not really mom and pop; they have like 6 locations, but um, much smaller. And so sometimes with a smaller company, you become a much more important person to them, where they value every customer, not just the guys who are running through 100 bottles a month. Yeah, it really wasn't. I had no problems with the workers themselves. It was just some of the Airgas policies and their prices, which are set by corporate. And I know if you had any competition in town whatsoever, if there was any other welding supply, their prices would be cheaper because Airgas is really known for, if they're the only game in town, they like to really give it to you. I know there's a guy I know that lives the only close place that's fairly close to him is Airgas, and when he needs tanks, he drives 50 miles each way. Well, same thing I do, but I'm going there because I live there. He drives 50 miles each way to get his tanks exchanged because he won't deal with Airgas because they do that. They I think it was a Argon CO2 tank, a C25 tank that I think it was $56 at the welding store that I go to, and the local Airgas wanted 70, and his Airgas was. Hey, for the first time, we have a yellow stream health. Really, I can see that there's 5 people watching and dealing with this buffering and listening to me, but Paul's the only one who's talking. How many thumbs up do I have? Anybody know? It doesn't tell me on this screen. So everybody give me a thumbs up. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. No, I'm not leaving right now. Tonight, long as you guys are here and talking, I'll keep this thing going. Hey, while they have plenty of time to type in, it's not like you're keeping anybody else from talking by asking questions and talking. Because if somebody's not talking, this gets really, really boring on my end. And I imagine really, really boring on your end too, because listening to me ramble, I know my kids don't like it. I do it to them in the car all the time. I do have several other things here on my list that I could talk about that you guys don't want to hear about. So keep talking, or I'm going to just start going through my list. I already talked about Mike Rowe, did that at the beginning for you guys that missed it. One thing that he's been talking about is the skills gap. Well, turn the gas on, wait 10 minutes, and then light a match. Just kidding. Don't do that. Oh, somebody gave me a thumbs down? Bastard. Just kidding. I really don't care. As long as people are interacting, I really don't care if you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. It really doesn't make a difference to me. As long as people are watching and interacting, I'm happy with it. So, anyways, Mike Rowe talked about a lot about the skills gap and unemployment versus job openings. So, before the stream went live, I went to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and pulled the numbers down. Right now in the U.S. For December, we're at 4.1% unemployment, which is 6.6 million people out of work. That's just the people who are actively seeking work. Those aren't the ones that have given up. But the other thing is, there's 6 million job openings in the U.S. Okay, 6 million jobs in December. Does it have a pilot? It's really hard to tell without seeing what heater you're talking about. Of course, there's probably directions somewhere. I know, I don't like to read directions either. Anyhow, so there's 6 million open jobs in the United States that aren't being filled right now. And of course, some of that is companies aren't paying enough to fill the job, but they're most likely offering what they can afford to the person that's coming in. And everybody has to remember that's a starting wage, okay? And a lot of that's McDonald's and Burger King and that type of place. But there's a lot of jobs. Mike Rowe was one of the videos that I watched. He was talking about a Caterpillar dealership in Las Vegas, and they had 26 openings for service techs. Now those tech jobs start $30,000 to $40,000 a year, and after 5 years, you'll be making 100 grand a year, 6 figures. But they can't fill the spots. It's just not enough people willing to go out and get dirty, get their hands dirty, do some physical labor, you know. And there's over $1 trillion in student loans out there right now. Does it really make sense to go get a 4 year education when you can't get a job? When there's job openings where you don't need any education, you can go be an apprentice to a carpenter or a plumber with no education whatsoever. And these guys are looking for people to work for them who will actually show up and work. And as we all know, it's not rocket surgery, okay? You know, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I am by far a rocket surgeon. Yeah, Paul's got a dirty job and a 4 year degree. And he wants to get dirty in his off time too. The little bit that he has, he's out in the shop getting dirty. I love getting dirty. I don't mind it at all. I got a video on fixing my septic transfer tank. You know, I did a video on getting dirty. Well, of course, all my videos are on getting dirty because, you know, I'm welding, machining, woodworking. I got sawdust all over my shirt right now. Oh, see, I didn't know that, Paul. I didn't know that you had gone to grad school as well. So, you know, see, you know, it's yeah. And Mike also says, you know, he's been hearing all his life, follow your passion. Well, fortunate for me, I have been able to follow my passion in a sense, whereas I always wanted to work with my hands. I wanted to do jobs where I had to think while I was working with my hands. Yeah, playing in the dirt. Uh, I've got another friend who's was in grad school for archaeology, and my grandfather-in-law, I guess, my wife's father's father, he was an amateur archaeologist and worked on many digs in South Dakota. He was also a judge, but he was into archaeology. I think archaeology is really cool, and studying and learning about how past societies lived. And of course, from my perspective, I tend to gravitate to the tools they used and the techniques they used with those tools. Yeah, see, Noe's done dirty jobs as well. I mean, I think we all have. And of the people that I know, the happiest people that I know with their life in general um, are ones who do physical labor. Um, you know, run my own company, and it got to the point where I spent all my time sitting behind the desk. I wasn't happy anymore, so I made a change. You know, it's just what you have to do because ulcers and high blood pressure and all the stuff that comes with that all that stress, you know, isn't worth it. I don't care how big the paycheck is. One of the coolest archaeological things that I've seen. I saw it in a museum in Canada, of all places. I think it was in Winnipeg. Um, was a display showing an ancient spear chucker. Well, basically, what it is it's a piece of bone or wood about half the length of their spear. So this one was about 2.5, 3 feet long, something like that. It has a notch in the end and a handle on the other end, and you lay your spear in it. So basically, you're making your arm longer when you throw, so you can throw much further, faster, and with a lot more energy behind it. And when you go forward, that launch just basically makes your arm lever longer, which was I saw that and the demonstration. They had a little demonstration video playing as well, and on a loop, and I was just mesmerized by it. You know, who thought of that? It's like I've got a spear. I'm throwing a spear. Now, see, you guys actually know the proper term for it. I know it as a lever extension. But how do you come up with that? It's you're throwing a spear. Well, gee, if I do this, I can throw the spear harder, faster, farther, and longer. It's just, I mean, a bow makes sense. Okay, a bow and arrow makes sense. It just automatically clicks into your head if string, pull it back. It makes sense because there's a direct energy correlation there. And but the guy who came up with that, you know, the Edison of his time or the Tesla. Um, so it's a lot of cool stuff we can learn from those who went before us, even though they had more sloping foreheads and tiny brains. We have more upright foreheads and big brains that don't think. We're too busy playing with our phones and asking Google how to do something than to actually stop and think about it and figure it out for ourselves. And honestly, I'm as guilty of that as anybody else. Google is at times my best friend when I need to know something right now. Of course, I grew up in a time so I can really appreciate Google. Um, where when I was young and you wanted to know something, you had to go to that big 26 or 30 book set and uh, and find the well, see, thanks for correcting me, Paul. Now I feel stupid. Not really. I was going back beyond uh, the ancient humans, back to the Neanderthals with the sloping head comments. Um, but even they learned how to nap flint and make simple tools as well. And you make a tool, and you use a tool to make a better tool. It's just it's a natural progression. It good. You make like I said, make a tool. Use that to make a better tool. Use that tool to make a better tool. Um, there's a guy doing the same thing Paul's doing with the making his own lathe, and now he's working on a shaper. I remember his name is Cressel Anderson, but I can't remember the name of his channel. But it's the lathe is the only tool that can create itself. So you can take a lathe, you build a lathe, a simple lathe, and you use that one to build a better lathe. And then you can use that one to build a better lathe, Baker size. That's it. He just came out with a new video yesterday or today too. Hey, Harry Jr. Hi from cold, cold northern Minnesota. How's the UK tonight? Cool and wet, I bet. So going on with that, then you take that good lathe and you use it to make a shaper. And you take that shaper and the lathe and make a better shaper. And then you take the better lathe and better shaper and you make a mill. Then you take the mill and the lathe and the shaper and you make a better mill, and so on. And this is how there was actually a book. I don't remember the name of it. I read it about 10 years ago. And the guy in the book, he started out doing, I think he used the same series of books that you're using, Paul, to build the lathe, but he wrote a book about the process. But he started with rocks and sticks and leather and built a simple wood lathe to a better wood lathe to a better wood lathe to make the stuff that he needed to do the castings and so on, and worked his way all the way from rocks and sticks to good quality tools that could do good quality work. Yeah, here it's just cold. Our wet is frozen right now. Frozen in white, the way I like it. Yeah, that's because I have hay fever, and when it's frozen in white, I don't have hay fever problems. Yeah, I kind of heard it, but I was doing a couple of other things while I was watching. I had it on the TV out here in the shop while I was doing woodworking. Ugh. Okay, I'm not AVE. Wood isn't evil. I like working with wood. I just prefer working with metal. And I think he said something about that knock in his yoke and that he's got it. He had to do some kind of adjustment so it didn't hit somewhere or something. Like I said, I wasn't paying 100% attention to the video. Um, it was on while I was working on this latest woodworking project. Wood is good. Wood is awesome. Wood keeps you warm. There's no way steel can keep you warm. All right. Well, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab another Mountain Dew. All right. I'm back. Have you guys been watching his series on the house he bought and is redoing? That's it's been a interesting challenge he's put up for himself there. I don't know if I would. Well, at my age, I wouldn't do it. At his age, I probably would have. I've rebuilt several houses. In fact, I did a cabin for a lady a few years back that should have been torn down to the ground and started over. But because of its location, how close it was to the lake, she wouldn't have been able to. It was too close to the lake to rebuild on the same footprint. And it was pretty much the same thing. We did all new roof, um, all new interior. Part of the floor was 7.5 inches out of level. The wall, none of the walls were anywhere close to plumb. All new windows. It was quite the project. The grinder's coming along pretty good. You weren't here earlier. I was sick all last week, so I didn't have any shop time, and got here 2 days ago out to the shop, and I've been working on some woodworking projects, some Christmas presents to get those out of the way, and then I'll be back on the grinder. So probably no grinder video this Saturday, but there'll be one coming out the following Saturday. But no way, it's much more fun watching somebody else do home repairs. Doing them yourself, that just isn't any fun. It's kind of like working on your daily driver. Working on daily drivers is not fun. Anytime that you have to fix something that you have to use right now or very soon isn't fun. Building this belt grinder, I'm having a blast because I don't have a time limit on it. In fact, I still haven't decided which motor to use on it yet. I'm to the point now where that's going to be one of the next decisions I have to make is what motor to use on it. Now it's been a long time since I've been stung by a bee. Well, actually, I got hit by a wasp last summer, but that doesn't really count. But I was 90. I think it was 96. I was on top of a ladder, and one got me right on the lip. I've been in a few of those cabins. We call them hunting shacks. The smart ones lay down plastic and then a thick carpet pad, and then the carpet over the dirt. And what's up with this big YouTube thing? Homesteading and going back to nature and simplifying your life, and then having to have internet so you can upload your videos to YouTube. That really confuses me. We're going off grid, but we have to have internet. We have to upload our videos to YouTube. I actually enjoy some of them. I've been watching. Can't remember the name of it off my hand, but they're building a timber frame house out in Idaho, and I think I've talked about this before, and they frustrate me, and they at the same time they encourage me for the future. Harry, are you following my plans on the grinder, or are you doing your own design or following somebody else's? I hope you're not following mine because nobody needs a 200-pound belt grinder. Hey, now charging your phone off a steam engine would be cool. I've checked out a lot of those mini micro hydro videos that are out. I have no way. The stream that we have, it's probably got maybe 3 feet ahead in its entire length. So no way I could do that. But I could build a steam engine to generate power. Sounds like I need an awful lot of wood, though. Nice thing about micro hydro is it's always there and it's just running. There's a guy, I believe it was in Colorado, who did a series on his micro hydro setup, 2 of them. The first one that he put in originally, and then they just built a new one. I think you'd be much better off charging your phone off solar myself. I've actually been working on plans for a little solar project to help heat the shop. Kind of lower the bill here. I've got a southwest facing wall. I'm thinking about building a heat collector for it and using a solar powered fan. Paul. Burning the environment to power your technology, but you're using a replaceable fuel. Well, Google will still be there. Google is self-powered, isn't it? So at least they'll be able to Google the answers to their questions. Okay, that topic we're going to save for another time. How about we cook some large woodland critters? Actually, a friend of mine, while I was sick, he dropped off about 20 pounds of venison for us. Deal I made with him last spring that trade some venison for some work. Much easier way to get venison from my perspective. I get to mess around in the shop and do something, and he gets to go sit in the woods and wait for Bambi to walk by and kill it. We don't say that four-letter word here. No way. Yes. People eating tasty animals. Or as my wife says, PETA's a PETA. Pain in the tuchus. So YouTube doesn't flag me. I'll use tuchus. Can't murder something that doesn't have a soul, Paul. So I draw the line at shop dogs. Shop dogs have souls. Right, Callie? Oh, did I say your name? Do you want to come say hi to the people? There we go. Callie wanted to say hi to the people. You know, she'll bark her fool head off at anything outside, but she won't say a word when I have her on camera. Kind of like it that way. Last belt grinder video that came out, you could hear her barking in the background. Yeah, gotta have a shop dog around. I've, however, decided that this is definitely our last one. Hey, Do Right Fabrications live for anybody who wants to go watch him. He's probably doing something a lot more interesting than I am. You guys watch Jim Bollinger? He does some cool projects. He's a darn good welder, too. And a nice guy. Got to talk to him at FabTech. Now, see, now she's hiding from the camera. The structural belt grinder. Everybody should make their belt grinder out of 1-inch plate. I did get some more parts for it in this week. My 1.5 inch by 3/4 inch bar stock was 20 thousandths undersized, and I didn't clean it up at all. I just used it as is, and it was 20 thousandths undersized. So I had to order some 20 thousandths shim stock, and I got some handles in. These things right here, they're the ones that you can pull out and adjust. Well, that's cool. Get this notification off my screen. There we go. So yeah, so got handles in, got the shim stock in. McMaxer car is awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I would have made it out of 1-inch plate if I didn't have the plate laying around, but I tell you, it's bolted together. This thing is heavy. I'm gonna have to make one heck of a stand for it. So 12 millimeter, just under 1/2 inch. I believe 12 millimeter or 12.7 mil, 12.7 is 1/2 inch, correct? Or 500 thousandths. Let's go with that. 500 thousandths of an inch. Yeah, and the 1.5-inch square bar fits the sockets perfectly now with that 20 thousandths shim stock in there. Slides right in, just a hair of wiggle in it. It's a perfect fit. Well, it'll be easier to move around, that's for sure. I was actually on the way out to the shop. I was thinking, how am I gonna do it so I can drill a hole in the top of it so I can put a lifting ring in it, so I can lift it with the jib crane. It's getting to the point where just moving it around on the table is getting to be a pain. But I'm not complaining. I designed it. I'm building it. You know, it's all my fault. Hey, Paul, you still with us? If you are, that book that you're using to build the lathe, are the dimensions given in there in metric or in standard? Just wondering, because Maker Size is doing everything in metric, which I find odd since he's in like South Carolina or something like that. I thought that it was odd that everything he's doing is in metric since he's in the U.S. So he's converting everything from inches into metric sizes. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to make a comment on his video on that. Very, very interesting. Oh, Do Right Fabrication is live again. Here we go again, test. Last one was test number 5. An Maker Size is an international man of measure. So Some people are just more comfortable working in metric, and I can understand that. I'm more comfortable working in inches, so it's just the way I am. Probably because I've worked in inches all my life, but I have worked in metric because a lot of the computer stuff that I work on is in metric. And in my networking bag, tool bag, there's actually a tape measure that's in both metric and inches. And I was looking at tape measures at the store not too long ago and just checking out all the new offerings and tape measures, just playing with them, and had thought about buying another one of those for the shop. then my brain got the better of me, because most stuff I'm measuring in the shop, when it really makes is important, I'm measuring with calipers anyways, and that has a button on it to switch between metric. And oh, Paul, your wife is wrong. You can tell her I said that. It's not better. It's just different. You see, metric doesn't always make sense because you still end up using decimals anyways. At least for machine work, it's you don't have 10 centimeters, you have 100.12 millimeters. So it all comes down to decimals in the end, anyways. Funny you said that. No way. Woodworking project that I'm working on, I actually had to cut twice because I measured wrong. I forgot I was using a tape measure, and I was burning an inch so I get an accurate measurement. And when I marked it, I forgot I burned an inch, so I marked it an inch short. Fortunately, I had enough material to just cut the two pieces that I cut wrong properly. I just wish that car manufacturers, and for the most part they um, have switched mostly to metric. But like my 95 GMC, it's about half metric, half standard, maybe just a little more heavy on the metric fasteners than on the standard fasteners. And so when you're working on something that has both, that's when it becomes a pain in the tail. And of course, in the shop here, I stock a lot of standard fasteners. Just about everything I have is standard. I got one drawer with a bunch of mixed metric fasteners in it. And I was just at my fastener supply a couple weeks ago talking to them. And for $125, they'll get me a big selection of metric fasteners to stock in the shop, so I can just pay them once, and they'll give me a good selection. I think it goes from 4 millimeter up to 10 millimeter, something like that. Um, yeah, the crossovers are just a nightmare to work on. Then again, I don't like working on cars anymore, anyways. Maybe if I get a project vehicle, I'm thinking about doing a project vehicle with the 95 GMC. I've been going back and forth on selling it or making it into a project vehicle. So we'll have to see what's going to happen with that. I decided I'm not going to sell it over the winter. I was going to clean it up and sell it, and then it got cold and started snowing, and I decided that it would wait until spring. Maybe if I run out of things to do. There's my joke for the night. Um, I'll get it in here sometime during the winter, but I doubt it. Because as you all know, my list is long and comprehensive on things that I want to do. So, and the truck project really isn't a pressing project at the moment. I've got a box of metric set screws too. I have like 15 different sizes in there, something like that. I keep them for those times when I need to use a replace a metric set screw. Um, doesn't happen very often. I've got metric Woodruff keys and some metric key stock too, in different sizes, just in case I need them. It's one of those things where I needed it once, so I bought a set and just kept it, on hand, just in case I need one of them again. So it didn't make sense just to buy one set screw when I could buy a set for just a couple dollars more. You know what really pisses me off? I needed a was it 6.5 by 16 1.25 thread left-handed bolt, and I couldn't find one anywhere locally. Went to McMaster-Carr. The stupid bolt cost me $23 plus shipping for one freaking bolt. Now, granted, pretty specialized. There's a spot on my screen. Is that 8mm or 0.8mm? 0.8mm. I don't know. But if I had a box of 200 of them, I'd buy a tap. And I'd use them on anything that I wasn't going to have to work on again. But my string trimmer works again. That was what the bolt was for, is to hold the head on the string trimmer. The old head died, and I needed to put a replacement head on it. And none of the bolts that came in the kit with the new string trimmer head was the right threads, so the right size. They were standard of all things. Or so no, some of them were metric, some were standard, but none of them were the right pitch. So yeah, $23 for a freaking bolt. I didn't pay that for the nut that holds the jib crane together. I think that was only $6 or $8 or something like that. Nope, come to think of it, I didn't pay for that nut at all. It was in with a bucket of other stuff that I got at an auction. I found it. I was worried I was going to have to buy one, and so I checked the price, and I went to my parts dealers locally, and none of them had the right one. Once again, it's a 20-plus-year-old string trimmer, but it works great, except for the head was broken. Yeah, see, you just got to use them on stuff that you're giving to other people far, far away. Then they could get really pissed out. What kind of idiot made this with this one metric set screw in it? Of course, then again, if you use them on everything for yourself, then you'd have the proper Allen wrench and the tap, so it wouldn't be a. Yeah, nobody had the Robert. Nobody had the bolt. It was just I checked with everybody, and nobody. It's a Shindawa trimmer, commercial. It's technically it's a brush cutter that I have a trimmer head on, straight shaft, and nobody had the proper bolt for it. long out of production. So doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all that nobody had it except for McMaster Carr. It's just the way things work. But fortunately, we have McMaster Carr around, so when you need something like that, you can get it. The handles I bought, McMaster Carr. These aren't the plastic ones. These are the cast aluminum ones, by the way. They were only a little more expensive, and I like metal. Yeah, must be warm in the shop because Shop Dog's laying on the floor, not my chair. So evidently, she thinks the floor is warm enough to lay on. Yeah, I wish I could have found one locally and paid $5-6 for it and been happy, but it didn't happen. But the trimmer's up and running and works great. So gas tank still leaks. Can't get a gas tank for it. Nobody even has any new old stock laying around anywhere that I could find. So, and evidently that was a issue with that machine because the there were other posts on the internet about that gas tank. Yeah, the one place that I go for my mower parts locally, they're usually pretty good about it. The guy that runs it, he doesn't own it. He's the manager there, and he's been there since the beginning. All right, No Way. Thanks for joining in. You have a great night too. Same time next Tuesday. Yeah, so the lawn dealership that I go to, he's the manager there, and he's who I talk to. He's been Yeah, that's what I did. I welded it up and still got a little bit of a leak. So um, I just and when I trim, I use about a tank of gas when I trim. So um, I so I usually just trim start with the main areas and trim my way out till I get to the woods. And if I don't get to finish the whole thing, I really don't care if I run out of gas. I just don't put any more gas in it, so it's not an issue with it. A little bit that it leaks, but since it runs so well that yeah, so that's the place that I go to. They've actually still got the microfiche cards for all the old equipment that they sold and serviced. And he looked, and then he called the head service guy, and the head service guy looked at it, and we measured it again, and he said, "Nope, we haven't had any in that size in probably 10 years." So evidently, it was a size that was used, and so they used to have them, but they don't have them anymore. So that was my best chance for getting one locally. So you grew up in a shop, and now you own a dealership. So the shop that you grew up in is that the one that you own now? I the mower shop, mower, snow blower, lawn tractor, everything shop that I used to use. They went out of business about they didn't go to business. They just stopped being a power equipment dealer. They were sporting goods and power equipment, and 10, 11 years ago they dropped the uh, sorry, computer wanted to update. So the place that I used to go to that had been open for 40 years as a power equipment dealer, just got rid of the power equipment stuff. It was evidently it wasn't making enough money for him. All right, give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go let Shop Dog out. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. She's old, and when she scratches the door and says, "Hey, I gotta go outside," we gotta let her out right away. So you've probably got a huge backlog of old parts sitting on shelves that covered in so much dust that I love shops like that. I've gotten to pick a few of them. One was an old snowmobile dealership, started in the '60s when snowmobiles first came out, and when they were closed for 10, 15 years before I got a chance to go in and pick there. And that was when I was really into snowmobiles about 10 years ago. And good Lord, the treasures I found in there. I found a 1973 Canadian Curtiss-Wright snowmobile engine still in the crate. Uh, they had 69 Skidoo something. I don't remember what it was. Brand new, still in the crate, sitting up on their pallet racking. It was a fun afternoon digging through all that stuff and finding the cool stuff. I took that Canadian Curtiss-Wright engine. That's what I've got. 73 Raider snowmobile. If anybody remembers those, they're late '60s, early '70s. I've got a '73 Raider 440, and so I've got a spare crate engine for that. That's really cool. I'd like to see a shop that's been open for a long time and doing good business and making somebody a living and having local dealers that aren't big box stores is awesome. I've never bought the only piece of lawn equipment or power equipment that I've ever bought from a big box store was a Ryobi string trimmer, uh, cordless, with a battery for around the house, and it died. 2 years old, it died, and it needs a new battery, and the battery cost more than the whole string trimmer did. So, oh, I bet you have a lot of the factory service tools from back in the day. Those are always cool to see too. I looked at a lot of those factory service tools from at that snowmobile shop and didn't take any of them because none of the stuff was pertinent to what I was working on, and I had a pretty good pile already um, by the time I got to the tools. And the tools had been picked over pretty good in the 10 years that the shop was closed. So there was a lot of specialty stuff, but there wasn't much good stuff left for just general tools. Um, Lately, I've been looking at the tools and auctions and looking at going, ooh, that's really cool. And stopping myself from bidding on it because tools I've pretty much got covered. I've got a few holes here and there, stuff that's either broken or been lost or damaged beyond use. And so I'm just when I go to garage sales and rummage sales and estate sales and stuff, I kind of pick through the sockets and stuff to see if there's. I got a list in my phone of all the sockets that I need to replace or are missing. Um, and usually I have it in either a different drive size or in uh, a deep, if or shallow that I can make work. Yeah, just because I've got so many tools now, my drawers are full. I've got everything covered. Um, I've got two pretty complete sets for my kids, so I really don't need to buy more tools at this point in my life. Um, Mechanics, hand tools, kind of stuff. I've been saving my fun money for tooling for the lathe and the mill, and uh, saving up for a new TIG welder and a new plasma cutter. So really don't need any more sockets or wrenches. I've got a whole drawer full of duplicate wrenches, and about half of them are uh, Chinese, and that I use to make specialty tools out of. In fact, when we were working on Colton's Ranger video that came out about a month ago now, had to make a special socket for tensioning the timing belt, the tensioner on the timing belt, and old Chinese socket, had no problems at all cutting a notch in the side of it. It's in the specialty sockets drawer now. I could use a laser cutter. I don't have room for one, but I could use one and a second lathe. And if I come across a good deal on another lathe, a bigger one, I'll be making more room in the shop. I'll be throwing something out to make it fit in here. The goal here in the next 5 years is to put an addition on the shop, so we can move the wood shop into the addition and make more room for the metal shop, so I can put more equipment in here. Because can't have too many machine tools, I don't think. Well, you can, but they come in different sizes. It's kind of like sockets. You need short ones, and you need the mid ones, and then you need the deep ones. Wrenches. You got the standard pattern wrenches and the long pattern wrenches. Ratcheting wrenches. Nice thing about lathe and mills is that a lot of the tooling switches over between. You got two lathes. A lot of the tooling can be used on both of them, and that's where all your expenses is in the tooling. My wife wants a 3D printer. She's been looking at them, and we're really contemplating getting one. And it'll probably be in the basement at the house. It won't be in the shop. Yeah, a lathe, I wanted one for a long, long time, many years, and I got this deal on this one last fall. Finally, found one that was in good enough shape that I actually felt it was worth the money they were asking. That I was going to pay for it, and it's indispensable. Once you have a lathe, you will find so many projects that you can do on the lathe that the lathe makes a lot easier. And then same with the mill. Now that I have a mill, it's your entire workflow changes once you have bigger machine tools. What you used to either avoid doing or find some half-assed way to do it, now you got out the calipers and you're hitting stuff nuts on. This belt grinder build, it would have been doable with a drill press, but I would have had to buy the wheels. I couldn't have made the wheels myself. Either would have bought a wheel set or used skateboard wheels like a lot of people are using. and the mill made it real easy. Yeah, 3D printers are awesome, and uh, probably in the next year or so we'll break down and actually order one. Um, I like the one Paul has; seems to work pretty good. Um, doesn't the learning curve on it doesn't seem to be too difficult. And I have basic 3D modeling skills. Everybody's seen the model of the belt grinder. Harry, to be honest, you're probably better off buying the wheels. I I had the aluminum that I picked up somewhere. I don't know where. So that's what made the decision of what size wheels I was going to make, is the aluminum that I had on hand. But even so, I had to have the keyway broached in the drive wheel. I didn't have a choice. I guess I could have done a flat on the. I just used a set screw, but that's not the proper way to do it. So, all right, guys. Well, we're coming up on 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off for tonight. I need to get some work done on these Christmas presents, and it's been great having you here. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks for chatting. Really appreciate it. Go check out Mike Rowe's Mike Works Mike Rowe Works website, and throw him some love if you can. And we'll catch you in the next video.